Hello everyone! So it's with great pleasure that I show you this chess puzzle. One of the most amazing chess puzzles, one of the most tremendously beautiful chess puzzles I've ever seen. And what's nice about it, Stockfish 11, Stockfish 12, and many other or almost all other engines cannot solve it. I should mention there's a type of Stockfish, let's call it, or a Stockfish fork, that is able to solve chess compositions. It's much better at solving chess compositions than regular Stockfish. Its sole aim, it's programmed to do that, but I doubt it will be able to solve it. I haven't checked with it anyway. I will be very surprised if it's able to. That would be some nice programming work then. And yeah, the thing is, this puzzle, about 12 moves deep, you get to a certain winning position, and if you put this position 12 moves deep into Stockfish, it still will not find the best move because the move is so counterintuitive. So what happens here is that there's a forcing sequence of moves that leads to a certain position that is winning. Now this certain position, it's not easy, but it's possible for a human to see that it's winning. But the thing is, you have to conceive of this position from this board where it all looks jumbled up. Look at all these pawns, all these rooks, queens, I don't know. It all looks jumbled up for a human. So that's why if you combine the Stockfish ability to find the forcing sequence and your human ability to realize that the end position is a win, then you might be able to solve this puzzle. Or if you have the final position in mind, you have or can conceive of it, then you just need to know that there's a forcing sequence of moves here that leads to that position. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. First, I will show you the drawing positions. So there are positions that can, there are complex draws here. Okay, there are 3 draws here, or there are many more, but there are 3 main lines of draws. So I'll show you 2 lines which are drawn. First, let's start with queen takes e7. This is supposed to be a draw. I'll show you the line very quickly because all of this is forced. I'm just going through this line very quickly because it's not the point of the puzzle. We don't want a draw, we want a win. I should mention, by the way, that very strong players, including 2 2400s in Blitz in my chess group, you guys should know them if you watch my videos, my streams, they weren't able to solve it and they spent hours and hours on it, and I even put up a money prize for it and no one was able to solve it. I also, my friend asked a GM about it, a 2650 rated GM, or 2640, I forgot. Anyway, he spent like 30 minutes on it and he wasn't able to solve it. So, yeah, it's an incredibly difficult puzzle. So this is supposedly a draw. If you have to keep going to c5 with the king. If you go to c7, there's rook a1, and this should be a win for white because we're able to sacrifice one of the rooks and the king can pick up the pawns. Yeah, but yeah, this is a complex draw and not really needed. There is a much easier draw. Let's look at another rather complicated draw which begins with queen takes h5. Here rook takes c6, takes, and c2. And this should be supposedly winning for white because, you know, we're controlling all of these pawns. We have our own passed pawns, we have an extra rook. But black is able to kind of come up with some sort of perpetual. Here queen f5 retains the perpetual for white. Otherwise, you know, queen a5 check with this queen a3 picking up the rook, it might be really dangerous because these pawns are really far advanced as well. So yeah, that's one way to draw with queen takes h5, the other is queen takes e7. The much simpler draw that many people can find is queen check, king b8, queen check takes, and now, sorry, not a6 check, but rather rook b6 check, king a7, and you keep toggling here. You keep toggling, and if the king oscillates between one of these squares, you're able to win very easily. Now the question is, what happens if king d7? Well, this is a rather easy checkmate. So the king has to be confined to these 3 squares, and it's a draw. And same thing with king d8, very easy checkmate. So this is one way to draw, but we do not want a draw. Now you'll see there is a forcing sequence of moves which leads to a certain position which is easily winning. Let's see this forcing sequence of moves. Queen d4 check, forcing, only move, king b8, check, forcing, queen b7, takes, forcing, takes, check, forcing the king to retain contact with the rook. If the king moves out of the way, we just take the rook, and with these passed pawns dangerously close to the king, these passed pawns here will not be able to win the game for black. white will actually be winning. So king b8 takes, forcing takes, a7, threatening to promote to a queen, forcing king b7, checking, again forcing king takes, and now king c6, forcing multiple things, one of which is which is b6. The other is of course check, king here, b6, and promotion and checkmate, or actually a direct checkmate. So if it were white to move here, check, check here, and this is checkmate. So black plays this, and now the brilliant move, or one of the brilliant moves, not the most brilliant in the puzzle, e6. You'll get to see why this is important in just a second. Rook takes e6 check, king c7, threatening checkmate. This is the only way to prevent the immediate checkmate. So it is played, rook a6, and now b6. Something like this check, we can see on our local stockfish, it will easily know that this is actually winning, yeah, because b6 I just take. And you know, these passed pawns are ridiculously strong, of course. Yeah, so that is not working. So what is working? It's b6. Again, threatening checkmate. If b6 is taken over here, we again have, wait, do we have the check here? Yeah, we have the check. Why am I turning on the engine? Yeah, we have a check, and it's rook a6. yeah, sorry guys, okay. And yeah, so rook a7, only move to prevent the checkmate, and now king c8. Completely crazy. And now what's the point of this king c8? You'll see in just a second. I give the main line as c2. And after c2, it's a rather simple win that SF can still not find. Or actually, I think now SF sees it. I think here, will it see it? Yeah, it does see it. Rook d5. This is winning. What in the world? How is this winning? Completely crazy, guys. You promote to a queen, rook a5. This is the position you had to have in mind from the much earlier position. This is completely winning. There's no preventing b7 checkmate. This is the whole point of the puzzle. And have you guessed why I played e6 check? You'll figure out in just a second. But do you see here? There's nothing. There's nothing that can be done. Takes is coming, which is checkmate, and check is coming, which is checkmate. Try any move. There's no solution. Now, why is it so important to do what I just did? Okay, we'll show you why. Let me give you one example. Let's go for the line with e2. Against e2, you play the stunning rook a1. Absolutely bonkers. And after rook a1, black is forced to take. You check, promote, and now look at this. You keep following the king. Threatening checkmate. Threatening checkmate. Threatening checkmate. Threatening checkmate again. If black promotes, that's not going to help. You promote, thank you, checkmate. Threatening checkmate. There are no checks with the pawns. And now rook b1 has to be played, whereupon we simply have this checkmate. If not rook b1, let's say c2 is tried, queen b3 is checkmate. Completely crazy. That's for e2. What else? We also have e6. Against e6, you play the stunning rook b1. The purpose of rook b1, I hope you figured it out. The purpose is this. Absolutely crazy. c2, rook b5, you promote, rook a5, GG. G is G. e2, you want to try e2, again rook b5, f1 queen, rook a5, and this is going to be checkmate. If e1 queen, and this again I'm doing this line, rook b1, e2, rook b5, and now if e1 queen, again the same thing will happen, and checkmate. Also note here that if queen e4, for example, preventing b7 checkmate, we have the other checkmate, rook a5. So yeah, that's it for this line with e6. Now the most stunning line I'll show you is g6, or actually both g6 and f6. And now have you realized why we had to play e6 check? Let's go back to this position. Let me show you what happens if we go here immediately. Okay, I can turn on the engine here. It will show the line. Rook a6, b6, rook a7 check, king c8. And now it actually gives c2. Yeah. You see what's the point now? If I try something like this, you can promote to a queen here. And have you seen the point now? That's why I played e6. Because I free up the rook check, the rook taking the queen, which will be very relevant in the f6 line. So here, if I want to play this, you simply have queen f5 check. And that's a thank you from me. So yeah, that's why we had to play e6. That's why you had to sacrifice the pawn. Now, if we go back 2 more lines, I'll show you g6 first because it's simpler. g6, this is the line the engine can't find. When you put the engine at very high depths here, it finds all the winning moves, but it still gives g6 as a draw, even though it's completely winning, which is ridiculous. We're 12 moves deep and the engine still does not see it. So g6, the only winning move. g4. What's the point of g4? Again, when you promote, I want to prevent queen f5 check. That's the only point. And now e6, let's say, or any other move. Rook b1, g5, rook b5, and we have rook a5 coming. Brilliant. Now this is not going to help rook a5, and I can take if you try to play queen f5. Besides, you blocked your own check. That's why e6 isn't such a great defense, because you block your own check. And now, for the final line, it's with f6. It's a really beautiful line, this one. Just watch. Rook d5, we promote. Rook a5. But now we have the very tricky queen f5 check. But we take e5, preventing rook a5. So we have to come back very quickly. c2 is tried. And now rook a1. Again, with a very stunning tactical idea over here. Okay, queen a8 check, king b5 takes. And this position is actually winning for white. So this position is actually winning. How is it winning? Look at this, very precise sequence of moves. And now the queen stops both pawns. Very important. And now the king is able to collect these pawns and eventually win the game. I'll continue this line a bit. Here it's very important to come back with the king. If you take here, there's f4 and the game is drawn. So you have to come back. And yeah, this is a rather simple win. There's also the possibility of black just pushing these pawns. You take and you start promoting your own pawn. For example, you take here, and now it's very important to play g3, preventing f4. And you're able to take and promote your own pawn, and it's an easy win. Stunning line, stunning complexity. So just this puzzle is absolutely genius, absolutely brilliant. And now I'll show you a small snippet of high depth stockfish, so you can see that it does actually not see what I'm showing you guys. Okay, guys, as you can see here, depth 65 doesn't find it. Queen d4 check given only as a draw. And here at depth 51, it doesn't find g6, g4. Saf, sometimes you disappoint me. Yeah, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Absolutely crazy, absolutely beautiful. With that, take care and thank you for watching.